Yeah. Ecclesiastes chapter 7. If you have a Bible app on your phone or you have a Bible that you can open up, turn to Ecclesiastes chapter 7. This is part 3 of this series called Spring Cleaning. Spring cleaning is a time where we all kind of take time out to go through our houses and declutter things, get rid of stuff we're not using anymore, go through our closet, give away clothes, we go reupholster stuff, replace stuff, repair stuff. It's an opportunity to do that in our physical homes, and we wanted to make it analogous to what we need to do in our spiritual homes, in our bodies that we move around in. I think it's anything that you do in that house you live in should be done in this house that you live in. And we talked in part 1 about the power of guilt and grief, and how I gave you 10 things to help you work through guilt and grief, because that's a heavy load to carry when you lost something. It could have been an opportunity, it could have been a relationship, it could have been a loved one, it could have been some money, whatever you lost. And you're not only grieving what you lost, but you're feeling guilty because you should have, like, you feel like, man, if I would have did what I was supposed to do, I would still have what I lost. And some people are medicating themselves with alcohol and drugs, and you're depressed and you can't even move forward. And I'm saying, you got to keep living, man. You got to keep going. There are people in your life now that want you to check back in. Like you checked out, and you're still wishing it was like it was. It will never be like it was. It is what it is. And your best days can be in front of you if you would only check back in. And sometimes that's going to take counseling and a process, but you got to ask God to forgive you, then you got to forgive yourself. And just watch this, just because you moved on doesn't mean you didn't value what you lost. I wish I still had it, but I got to move on. And let's just put somebody that may have needed that. Just say, move on, just move on. I didn't hear y'all. See, sometimes I'm preaching up here, but you preaching down there. You say, hey, you feel that? You hear that? Part 2, we talked about replacing and repairing things. And I won't go into all of that. You can watch it online. You can buy the DVD or CD. And then today I want to talk about stuff that needs to be removed. Removed. I did a little study on mold, M-O-L-D, and how it can get in your house, how it gets in the house, and how it sometimes you don't know mold is in the house until it manifests. And the manifestation of mold, it might be on a wall or on a ceiling, is not the mold, it's the evidence that mold is present. And so they have a protocol in which mold is removed. Like there are levels of mold, like level 1 mold protocol, and level 2. They have stuff you're supposed to wear, stuff you're supposed to put on when you go to address mold, and certain chemicals that you must spray on the mold area. And they talk about isolating the contaminated area so that the mold doesn't spread, and then running tests on different parts of the house to see if mold is there, and then removing in a plastic bag. By the way, see, some people see mold and they paint over it, spackle it, and drywall over it. But just because you covered it doesn't mean it's gone. And that's how we do stuff in our life, by the way. And so all of this busting walls and going in and drying out stuff and removing stuff and taking it out and then rechecking it and reevaluating whether it's a real comprehensive process. And then I start thinking, well, what's in our life that's like mold? It's anger. Sometimes you don't even know anger's there till it manifests, till you flick off and start breaking stuff, till you just cuss somebody out and go out on a tirade on somebody, or you explode into some behavior that was not in line with who you've been, like it just manifests itself. And I want to talk about removing anger out of our lives, just like we need to remove mold out of our lives, because although anger in and of itself is not evil, anger that stays too long and that's expressed too vehemently can be dangerous. Listen to Ecclesiastes chapter 7, verse 9 from the Good News Bible. This is what it says. It says, keep your temper under control. Do me a favor, just tell somebody, keep your temper under control. I know y'all hate doing that. I don't care. I'm getting you mad doing it. Keep your temper under control. Keep your temper under control. It is foolish to harbor a grudge. Keep your temper under control. It's foolish to harbor a grudge. How about this? Ephesians 4:26. Ephesians 4:26 from the Message Bible goes like this. Go ahead and be angry. You do well to be angry, but don't use your anger as fuel for revenge. And don't stay angry. Don't go to bed angry. Don't give the devil that kind of foothold in your life. That's good. Let me go. I'm gonna unpack some of this. Let's go to the next translation. I think I got a good news translation. If you become angry, this is Ephesians 4:26. If you become angry, do not let your anger lead you into sin. And do not stay angry all day. Don't give the devil a chance. Yeah. I want to give you 10 things today. I'm going to give you 10 things, 10 ways to remove anger out of your life. 10 ways. 7 of them will be questions. 3 of them will be statements. A lot of it's going to come on the screen. So here we go. The first thing you want to do to start this process of removing anger from your life is to ask this question: what am I angry about? You would think that goes without even asking, but sometimes people are just angry in general. Just walk around. You look at their pictures, they don't even smile in the pictures. Be like this all the time. Be a wedding, they be like this. Funeral. Anniversary. Retirement. Hit the lottery. You waiting to hit that joint, huh? What am I angry about? Like sometimes just mad, don't even know why. Like, what got me angry? What happened? Who did it? What did they do? What is the situation that caused this anger? Second question: why has this made me angry? It's going to sound alike. What made me angry is not the same as why has it made me angry. Why has this made me angry? So if what made me angry, just anybody yell out something that can make you angry. I didn't hear the first thing. Somebody. Children. Somebody said children. They said that clear. Children. So let's say your child made you mad. And then you say, that's what they did. What made you mad? What made you mad is something the child did. Didn't follow direction, broke something, used drugs, got suspended, disrespectful or something. They did something that just, smelling themselves. When they get a certain age, there are two ages that are demonic for children. I'm serious. When they turn 2, that's devil 1. That's devil 101 when they turn 2. When they learn how to say no and try to do stuff on their own. Can't put the shoe on, but mad when you trying to help them. Then the second age? 16. That's legion. That's many demons. Especially a 16-year-old girl. That's another level. I'll say it. That's when you want to go to their chin. Anyway, so let's say you got a child situation, got you mad. You got to say, okay, we know what they did. Why did this make you mad? See, anger is never the first thing you feel. That's a secondary emotion. It's a defensive emotion. I'll explain in a minute. The first thing we felt was shock or disappointment or hurt. Or I'm let down, or I feel disrespected, or I feel unappreciated, or I feel devalued. Those are primary emotions. They come first. Then it's followed by anger. Anger follows. So the reason why you got to find out why you're angry is because you got to know what emotion caused you to move into anger, because anger is never first. What is it? You say, I felt disrespected. I felt unappreciated. I felt unheard. I felt let down. I felt disappointed. That's why I'm angry. Here's what happened. Here's why I'm angry about it, the emotion that follows. Here's the third question. Here's the third question you need to ask. Is this worthy of my anger? Now, why would I ask, is this worthy of my anger? All the 16-year-olds mad as a mug right now at me. How dare he gonna call me a demon? I don't even like this church. He the demon. Anyway. Is this worthy of my anger? Why would I ask that question? Because you have to understand, anger is a commodity. Anger is like fine china. You only bring it out when necessary. Why? Because anger takes too much emotional energy and costs too much adrenaline to just throw it at anything. It costs me to be angry. Anger it must be something valuable for me to be. You know, I had to go through these questions. I was mad yesterday because the Wizards lost. So I started asking myself, what are you angry about? I said, they lost. Why are you mad? I wanted them to win. Is this worthy of your anger? No, this ain't worthy of my anger. I ain't getting a dime. I volunteer for the Wizards. I'm the chaplain of the Wizards. I do that for free. They don't give me nothing. In fact, I got to buy a ticket to get in the daggone arena to do chapel. I'm mad about that. They should give me a ticket. That's what I really need to ask these questions about that ticket. So you have to ask yourself the question, is this worthy of my anger? You can only answer that three ways. There can only be three answers to the question, is this worthy of my answer? You ready? It's going to come on the screen. It's either yes, or it's no, or I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I should be mad about this, or nah, you know what? This ain't worthy of my anger. If you're mad at your child, let's say you're mad at your child and your child did something, they got bad grades or something like that. I don't know, they did something bad in school. And now you're mad because it disappointed you, right? Or they did something, you're mad, it disappointed you, that's why you're mad. And then you say, is this worthy of your anger? And I'm saying, now you got to evaluate, are you mad at them for them, or are you mad at them because it makes you look bad? Then you get started about, why am I really mad? And is anger going to fix it? Or maybe I need to come along and give them some support, because maybe they're getting bad grades because I don't even give them enough support to do well. Like, you know, it could be a number of things you got to think through. And then you say, well, why am I so mad about this? Or you might say, you know what, I'm not sure if I should be mad. Well, if you're not sure, assume that you should be and go to the next steps. The reason why you got to ask the question is because if you deserve to be mad about something, you should be able to tell yourself, this anger is warranted for this situation. I deserve to give this much emotional energy to this because it matters. Otherwise, if it's a no, being mad is something for a long time that's not worthy of your anger. It's like taking China to a cookout. You done took your best China out and they playing beer whist on your China and spilling beer. It's the wrong thing for the wrong setting. You have to save that. And here's the next question you ask. Once you know whether or not, because if your anger is warranted, you got to tell yourself, you know what, it's right to be angry here, because a lot of times as Christians, we start feeling bad for feeling mad. But if you tell yourself, anger is warranted in this situation, I have a right to be angry, now I don't have to be conflicted about it or convicted about it, I'm supposed to be angry about this. Now what do? Here's the next step. Number 4, how can I express my anger in a way that doesn't place me at fault? This is when it gets difficult. One is, what am I angry about? Why am I angry? Is this worthy of my anger? If it is, how can I now express this anger in a way that doesn't put me at fault? You have to understand something about anger. Anger is such an adrenaline-rushed emotion that it is possible to express it in a way that takes the attention off of what made you mad. I gotta slow it down and say it different. Let me say it like this. So anger is a righteous response to wrongdoing. Anger is my response to when the higher part of me has been violated. So when I've been disrespected, when you've crossed the line, when you've devalued, disrespected, dishonored me, disappointed me, let me down, anger then comes in after disappointment, disrespect, etc., and comes in to defend the higher part of us and says, you've crossed the line. But here's the potential with anger. Has this potential. It comes to protect the higher part of me, but if I'm not careful, it can reveal the worst part of me. Because if somebody hits me with a low blow, if I don't respond high, I can get low right with them. You understand what I'm saying? See, how many of you understand? Say, I don't care how nice you are, how saved you are, it's a little southeast in all of us. for those of you watching online, if you don't know what Southeast is, you're in Chicago, you're in Miami. Southeast in this area is a place, there's certain parts of it you just don't want to be in at night if you ain't from around there. That's Southeast. And all of us got a little Southeast in it. And how do you know what Southeast is in Detroit? How do you know what it is in Philadelphia? If the neighborhood has gardens on it, that's Southeast. I don't know. Anything with gardens on it, I don't know why they do that. I live in the gardens. You live in the gardens? That's what I'm saying. Potomac Gardens, anything with the gardens in it, you know, that's wherever you live, that's Southeast. And all of us had that in us where we can go gardens on somebody. And here's the problem. When you go Southeast, when you go gardens on people, even if they were wrong, even if they were ghetto for how they came at you, if you go back ghetto, now now what they did wrong has been minimized and what you're doing wrong is being maximized. They're like, oh, so you're just going to cuss me out? Look at you with your wild, crazy self. Now what they did gets missed because of my reaction. Now the anger is supposed to be a revelation of what you did wrong. But because I went ghetto, now it's all about what I'm doing wrong. So it's a tricky emotion because it makes you want to it makes you want to respond at the level you were hurt. Because there's a trigger in us. If somebody gets you, y'all understand what I'm saying? If somebody comes at you wrong, there's something in you that want to go back, and not even at that level. Like if somebody call you fat, you don't want to call them fat. Somebody say you fat, your mother. That's the gardens, man. That's the gardens. That's the gardens. What I'm saying is somebody call you fat, you got to believe, you know, I would appreciate it if you wouldn't make fun of my weight. It's something I'm working on. That's how we're supposed to do it. You fat, you ugly. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have to understand that your reaction, because anger is adrenaline, you have to pay attention to it. So it needs boundaries. Your anger needs boundaries. It's up to you to bring it under control. One of the boundaries you can use so that you don't react in a way that brings all the attention to you and not to the person who offended you is you give it some time. Sometimes you got to just sit there and don't say nothing. All right. Some people count to 10. I need a little more than 10. I'm need to go around and take a drive. Sometimes you need time to reflect. You might have to ask these questions. Okay, what am I angry about? Why am I angry? Is this worthy of my anger? How can I express it? Sometimes you got to pray. Lord, don't let me go gardens on these people out here because, you know, they had to call the police on me last time we had this situation. Let me have this. Let me handle this the way you would, Jesus. What would Jesus do? You got to say stuff like that. One of the things you can do when you're trying to put a boundary on it, sometimes you need to journal. By the way, this ain't manly because when the rites of passage of men, I talked about this last year, when we reached rites of passage, they gave us a condom. We got condoms, that's our rites of passage. Men handed us condoms and said, be ready. Or we got to drink beer and get drunk with our fathers when we became a man. Ain't nobody hand us a journal. What's a journal? That's why we don't know how to deal with that. You understand? I can go back into that message all day and talk about how disconnected we are. Like, anyway, so sometimes you have to write out. Let me explain. Sometimes you have to write out how you feel. And sometimes what you write, you shouldn't say. He said, oh, Lord, I should. You be having exclamation points, cuss words. But sometimes it comes out through the pen. Feel a little better. Sometimes you got to watch your voice tone and body language. Because when you have adrenaline from anger, everything goes up. Like even a quiet person get loud when they're angry. If we get all turned up, everybody like, uh-oh. This person don't never say no, uh-oh. You got to bring all of it down. You pay attention to it. Here's another thing you do that can help control anger or help your response to something that hurts you, not bring all the attention to your response and we miss what the issue was. Focus on the hurtful actions. Focus on the hurtful behavior or the hurtful words. Focus on that instead of trying to focus on somebody's character or their motive. Focus on the hurtful actions, behavior, but instead of focusing on their character or motive. What do I mean? In other words, you say, you know what? that was hurtful what you did. That offended me what you did. Instead of trying to say what their motive is, and you did it because you're jealous. See, when you say that, now you're about to start an argument. Or you could say, you know what, when you did that, it felt selfish to me. Instead of saying you selfish. So when you call people names, now you're fighting. And I'm saying it doesn't get people's attention on the real injury, on the hurt that they cause. Here's the next thing, number 5. What's the bright side of the situation? These are questions you ask when you're dealing with something that's angering you. So instead of focusing on what's got me mad, what's the bright side of it? So here it is. Here it is. A child's got you mad. I'm mad because of what they did. I felt disrespected, felt disappointed in what they did. What's the bright side? You know what? Overall, she's a good kid. You know what? He's still young. He's still got time. You know what? We could be planning a funeral. Thank God they're still here. You start looking at the bright side. You know what? He did clean his room. You start looking at something to be thankful for. There's always something positive on the other side if you're not just focused on what's wrong. Even when somebody left you, you could be mad that they left you. They left me for somebody else. You know what you say? You know what? Even though I've been left alone, there have been some things I've been able to focus on by myself since I've been alone that I wasn't focusing on when I was in the relationship. So there's a bright side to that. I've gotten closer to God as a result of this. I've got my money lined up more. I focus more on me. Like, you understand? Look at the bright side. Something good came out of it, even if it was bad. Number 6. Is there any compassion to be had for the person who offended you? Any compassion? How about maybe they got a rough life. Maybe they've had it rough. Maybe they drink like that because they're in pain. Maybe they missed that out. Maybe they missed the event and you're upset because they didn't show up. Maybe it's because they got so much on their plate. Let me tell you something. 99.99% of people are doing the best they can. That's a fact. Most people are doing the best they can with the hand they've been dealt. How many of you ever hurt somebody or disappointed somebody and you didn't do it on purpose? Let me see your hand. We've done it. And don't you want them to understand, I didn't mean to hurt you. It just, I didn't make it. I'm sorry. It didn't work out, but I didn't mean to do that. I'm saying give people what we want. Give them some compassion. Understand. And something, by the way, this works when you're the offender. All of these questions works when you're the person. See, sometimes, you believe it or not, the person we're most angry with is ourselves. So you got to ask these same questions. What am I angry about? Why am I angry with me? Is this worthy of me being angry? How can I express anger towards myself without it being reckless? You understand? All these questions, because sometimes you got to forgive you. Number 7, is there a time in the past where I felt this kind of offense before? Have I felt rejected before? Have I felt disrespected before? Have I felt let down before? You ain't even got to go all the way back to your childhood. It could be something recent. It could be something with the same person. Yeah, I felt this with this person over and over again. See, once you know the thing that triggers you because there's a pathology to it, then you can know why you're so sensitive in that area. Like, I have a proclivity towards being sensitive when this hurt happens to me. Because this has happened to me before. So I'm on high alert when it comes to that. I'm on high alert when it comes to not being appreciated. When you don't say thank you, that touches me different than other people. Remember I said last week, whenever somebody goes to 10 on something small, there's history there. You understand that, right? Whenever you or I go to 10 on something, when you go to 10 on something that's a 2, that means there's history there. That the 2 was just added to the other 2 and the other 2 and the other 2. It was 8 under it. All it needed was 2 more to get me to 10. You understand what I'm saying? The 8 never went down. I'm still mad about y'all understand what I'm saying? Do the math. There you go. Now, most of these things, when you do this, should bring your anger down. I'm going to give you 3 more things you can do to remove it. One thing you might try to do is, if you have access to the person, you can do something called, you can try to do something called an SBI. An SBI stands for situation. Some of you have been here long, probably seen me do this before. Situation, behavior. Anybody know what the I is? Impact. And what an SBI is, it's when you go to a person, if you have access to them, and you say, this is how you express your pain to somebody. You know what? Here's the situation. The other day, you said or did such and such. That's behavior. And here's how it made me feel. That's impact. That's all you say. Hey, the other day, you did such and such or said such and such. This is how it impacted. This is how it made me feel. You don't say, and you did it because you're jealous. That ain't your job. And you selfish. That's why you always do that. No, and don't say always. Don't say you always do that, because nobody always does anything. And don't say and you never do that. That's only going to make persons defensive. Here's the situation. Here's what you did. It's a fact. These are facts, and this is how it impacted me. Now that can work if the person uses this tool alongside of it. LUVAA. That's listen. If they listen, if they understand what you're saying, if they validate you, in other words, don't try to make you feel crazy for saying it, and don't try to snap back at you when you try to tell them what hurt them. They say, what about all the stuff you be doing? Then they have to apologize once they've understood you and validated the fact that what you're saying makes sense and you're not crazy for feeling that way. Then they commit to making amendments. Like, what can I do to change my behavior so that you don't have to keep feeling this way? Listen. Listening is proven when you can say, I understand where you're coming from. Here's what I hear you saying. And that makes sense. I can see why you would have felt that way based on what I did. And I'm very sorry for that. See, a lot of people just want to say, when you say this hurt me, you say, well, I'm sorry. That don't make me feel safe at all. I'm sorry. What you gonna do now? I'm sorry. Like, are you planning on changing? Or do you even understand what you're sorry for? You know how it made me feel. Get to feel me. See, the problem is if you try to do an SBI with somebody that doesn't do this is grown folk stuff. This is rough right here. So if this person don't do that, you might get madder. If I ever do this with somebody that doesn't do this, I go back to my question and say, all right, well, what made you angry? Because, listen, y'all, you can't always expect the person who wounded you to heal you. Woo, that was worth you coming to church right there. If I had a gun and the gun went off and it hit somebody in here, I'm responsible for shooting you, but you're responsible for making sure you get healed. You got to go to the hospital. I might go to jail. You got to go to the hospital. You got to go through surgery. You got to if your lung was shot and your lung collapsed, you got to rebuild your lung. You got to go through rehab. You got to learn how to walk over again if it hurts your spine. You got to go through all that. The person who shot you cannot get in the bed with you and go through the rehab. We keep waiting on the person who hurt us to heal us. If a drunk driver hits you and it messes up the way you walk, you got to learn to walk again. See, we can sit here and act like victims the rest of our life. It's what my father did. It's what my fifth husband did. It's what my third wife did. We can say that all we can, but the person that hurt you is not coming back to heal you. You have to learn how to heal yourself. Otherwise, they have been re-empowered every day by the pain they've caused you. That you're remaining crippled and victimized is re-empowering them to keep shooting you. No. Number 9, that was 8. Consider trying an SBI. Consider trying an SBI. It may work. Here's what I believe definitely works. Choose joy, peace, and love. Choose joy, peace, and love. I'm going to tell you something. Sometimes you get to a point when you're in a relationship where you just got to say, you know what, I just want to be happy. I'm tired of fighting. Especially in a marriage. You ever been in a marriage, and especially if the marriage was ever fun and it was ever, because it had to be, because you wouldn't have got married. At one point, y'all used to have fun and laugh and play together and have a good time and in love with each other. Then it got bad. Remember, we started arguing about everything. That's when you know when I'm talking about petty stuff, arguing. Be in the car, you go left, they say, should have went right. You know Rhode Island Avenue going to be backed up. Why would you go left? We should have went on North Capitol. Then he says, shut up, let me drive. You shut up. You always trying to run stuff. I'll run stuff, pull the car over. Let me out. Y'all going to a wedding. You got a gown on. Let me out. You're on New Hampshire Avenue with a gown on, trying to get an Uber. Over going left. Y'all laughing, but you know it's true. Like, I'm saying, when you live like that with somebody, after a while, somebody just got to say, you know what? I choose joy. I'd rather be happy than right. Which way you think we should go? I don't think we should go that way, but I'd rather be happy. I choose joy. I'm going to tell you something. Love beats hate every day. I'm going to say that again. Love beats hate every day. Especially, I only know what it's like to be a husband. Especially when you're a husband. When I try to be mad at my wife, I'm the one that's unhappy. Like you like, oh God, I got so many places I can go with that statement, but I don't have time. Like nobody wins when only somebody wins. When somebody wins, somebody loses. You win the argument. That's what I'm talking about. And then you hold you. Sometimes you just got to drop the charges. Just drop the charges. You don't owe me nothing. I just want to be happy. I choose love. I choose joy. I choose peace over being right. That's more important to me than who was right. I just want to be happy. I'm tired of arguing. I'm tired of the tension. You want to go hug the person and be happy again, but that thing, the foul come up. You're like, no, you were wrong. That's the devil. Here's number 10. Shred the files. Shred the files. Yeah, shred the files. Anybody that's been in a relationship with somebody got a file on them. Some of the files are just mental. But I know people that got written, paper, documented files on somebody. They got a folder, a portfolio. They got the thing all around and everything. It's in a safe. They'll come to counsel and say, Pastor, this who he is. Yeah, Deacon love right. Deacon shout a lot. That's who he really is. He ain't that man that you be seeing in church. This is who he is. And it'd be like pages and pages of internet search history and bills and stuff and hotel receipts. And you just got a file. And it ain't just the women. Sometimes the man got a file. He got paper. He got papers. You on paper. Bam. And I'm saying, shred the file. You say, why would I do that? That's my evidence. That's what you use to shut. That's what you use to shut the person down every time. You just go like this. You ain't even got to say it. You got to say. Vegas, Gene, Vegas. Remember Vegas? Remember Vegas? Cook your own dinner. Give me Ephesians 4:31, please, Mel. Ephesians 4:31. Let's look at that file for a second. Get rid of all bitterness, passion, and anger. No more shouting or insults. No more hateful feelings of any sort. Verse 32, instead, be kind and tenderhearted to one another and forgive one another as God has forgiven you through Christ. You know why we should shred their file? Because he shred ours. He didn't just, woo! He ain't just shredded, he bled on it. I wish I could preach right there. He bled on it. And so watch this. You say, well, if I get that up, you ain't going to forget it. Shredding the file won't make you forget it. It's in your long-term memory. It's filed. God knows what happened. You know what happened. The reason why we hold on to the file It's because we're hoping deep down inside that when we tell other people about it, we'll bring other people into it that don't even want to know the file. This is what you need to know, because we want them to have a peek into our pain. You need to know what it's been like to be me. But what we're really hoping for is that it will serve as an invoice so that somebody will pay me back for what I've been through. It's your invoice. And the reason why I'm telling you to shred the file is not so that you forget what happened. Because you say, I ain't supposed to forget. I ain't saying you're going to forget. I'm saying you shred the file so you can give up the hope that the person who hurt you will ever repay you. I'm giving up the file. In other words, I got people that owe me money, and I used to keep a file. I used to give them notices, like it's 30 days now, 60 days. Because I have a company, and people were supposed to pay me for my consultation, and somebody didn't pay me. And I was telling my guy, I said, got to a point where I said, you know what, mark them down as paid. The reason why I want to mark them down as paid, because even though I want my money, and I want to do something to them so they can think that they shouldn't have did that about my money, what I'm going to choose to do is relieve them of the debt so that I don't keep looking at that invoice. If they pay me, they pay me. If they don't, it's cool. I got to go on with my life because I'm going to be all right without the money, right? But if I keep looking at it, sometimes you got to shred the file because you keep looking at it, and it keeps reminding you of what somebody owes you. And shredding it says, you don't owe me. It's costing me too much to wait on you to repay me. You understand? So now here's the deal, y'all. It's one thing to take notes. It's another thing to live them out. See, if I were you, this is a living document for me. Like, I will pull this up, because everything I'm teaching you, I have to apply, right? So I will pull this out. I need to have this laminated somewhere where I can pull it out and say, all right, here we go. Blood pressure going up, fist tightening up, this neck right here, that knee, that's that kick butt leg right there. Here we go. What am I angry about? Like, go through this so that you don't live in an environment that's emotionally dangerous. I'm not nearly as angry a person as I used to be. I used to be so angry that when I believe my kids, when they would hear the garage come up, whenever any room that I walked in, everybody would disappear. Here he come. When the garage would come up, they'd be like, oh, let's go. He's locking doors. I'd knock on the door like this. Hey! A domestic thug. Like, I had a lot of issues. So I'm saying, like, when I did this message, I can tell you, I'm real transparent with y'all. I'm telling you, when I prepared this message, it was hard for me to find something that I was that angry about. Like, I had to think of something. Like, let me force myself, because I don't feel that way no more. You don't have to be that way. You don't have to be that, and you ain't got to go to all the counseling I went through. This was your counseling session. Don't call me. How many of you felt like I was talking to you today? That's what I'm saying. You don't need to call me. I was just talking to you today. Let's pray. Father, thank you so much for this message. Help us to live it out, not just learn from it, but to live it. In Jesus' name, amen.